Welcome to Split Bill. Today's Thursday, and for those of you who don't have a calendar to keep track, I know some people are having a hard time. My name is Bill Poss, and I'm the host of Split Bill Daily Interview. Today, my guest is my brother, Matt Poss, and my brother's been playing music for all of his adult life and some of his childhood. So he's really super talented musician and songwriter, and got a lot of fans right here in Central Illinois. Got fans all over, but he's got probably his biggest fan base right here in Central Illinois. He has performed. He's performed at all the Moccasin Creek festivals, so 6 of those. And he won't this year. We have a special show with him at Lake Sarah at the same spot. It's just a different show. So anyway, he's waiting backstage, and I'm going to play a song, and then I'll get to talking to him. And I'm going to play a song. As I've been playing every day, I've been playing on my dad's guitar. My dad's been dead for almost exactly 14 years, I think it is. And this is his guitar, but it's really my mom's guitar, I guess, legally. But I borrowed it and been enjoying playing it. This is a song I wrote about a guy that I met in the Virgin Islands. It contains a little bit of foul language, so careful. My name is Willie Ford, and I am a rat. I'm a social parasite, and I can live with that. I've lost all connection between what's morally right. Between cocaine and treachery, I'm up all night. I act like a beggar, but really I'm a thief, aspiring to nothing and holding no belief. I am not a stranger, and I am not your friend. You don't get it now, but you get it in the end. Yes, you will. My name is Willie Ford, and I know that I'm a rat, but I'll be long gone before you know that. Lie to your face and sneak behind your back. I'm gonna borrow on my guitar and burn you for a stack. I stay up all night and I sleep all day long. I used to go to work, now I just sing this song. I sold my soul 1,000 times, it's your turn to buy my smile and my laughter and my big fat lie. Well, my name is Willie Ford, and I know that I'm a rat, but I'll be long gone before you know that. I'm gonna lie to your face, I'm gonna sneak behind your back. I'll borrow on my guitar, burn you for a stack. $200 seemed like a lot of money at the time. Well, my name is Willie Ford, and I'm a piece of shit. My conscience don't bug me, but the flies won't quit. If you smell me coming, you best beware. Hold your nose and watch your step and head for fresher air. Hold your nose and watch your step and head for fresher air. Hold your nose and watch your step and head for fresher air. Willie Ford. I screwed it up. I sang one of the verses twice and one of them not at all. So if you want to hear the whole song, I guess you have to go to my website and look it up. You can hear it for free at billpossmusic.com. You can also buy it and can include it in your own personal collection. Hey, Matt Poss. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
The man in black.
Yes, sir.
I got my Matt Poss shirt on. Do a shout out to Andy Evans, who designed this shirt, I believe, right?
Super cool.
Especially designed for the Moccasin Creek Festival. And I think there's only 25 of them in existence, and I got one. So there you go. Yeah, you're the man in black. I'm the man in back. That's what they call me. Back of the line. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
My office is in a basement, so I'm a little cold, but that's fine.
You don't have heat in your basement?
No, no,
That is unfortunate.
I don't get that.
Well, we're only a few miles apart, but we still have to do this via teleconferencing. But Matt, for those of you who don't know, Matt lives in the massive metropolis of Teutopolis, Illinois, 404 Oak Street. Just to let that out there in case you want to send him a gift, And so we've been brothers all our lives, and Matt started playing music well before I did. I mean, we all grew up playing piano and stuff, but Matt started playing guitar and writing songs and stuff when he was in junior high or just about junior high.
Yeah, about that.
Right?
Yeah, when I went to London, that was my first real song.
You went to London, and that was to visit me. Yeah. I don't know if I ever told you this story, but do you know that I met Joe Biden on that trip?
No.
Isn't that strange? It's not a political show, but I find it interesting. I was delivering. So I had my internship there was in the House of Commons, and I was delivering something to the office of one of the members of Parliament that I worked for, and I was headed back to the office, and I walked out of his office, and Joe Biden had gone over there to apologize to Neil Kinnock, who was the leader of the Labour Party, then in the minority to Margaret Thatcher's Conservatives, Tories, and he had gone over there to apologize for stealing a speech or part of a speech of Neil Kinnock. And it was before the time of Google, so I don't know how they figured it out, but somebody did, and he got called out, and it kind of ruined his 1988 bid for the presidency. Imagine that was 32 years ago, crazy. Anyway, he went and he addressed, when he was there to apologize, they invited him to speak to the Parliament, so he did, and he was leaving and was walking out, and I just happened to walk out of the door of the office that I was in, and he was walking down the hall, and I recognized him. I said, "Hi, Mr. Senator," and he said hi, and then he realized that I didn't have a British accent. He said, where are you from? What are you doing here?" And so we walked out of the building together, and there was this four main TV stations in England, and there's 4 big camera trucks out there, and they're all waiting for him to come out of St. Stephen's Gate, and I just happened to walk out with him at the same time, and so I immediately got ejected, but
that's why
we chatted for all of 120 seconds maybe, but it was
that's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, if you need any favors, let me know. I got connections.
Okay.
You had a wild ride in London, if I recall. You were out on the town.
Yeah, I was. That's about the time when you went to London. I kind of dug into it, and I discovered Steve Daters gave me a copy of "Nevermind the Bollocks" by the Sex Pistols, and he gave that to me at a Sigil dance. And then I discovered the Clash. And so when I got to London to visit you, I was primed about 10 years too late, but I was primed for punk rock. And
yeah,
I wanted to go see Soho. And of course, Mom and Dad had no interest in that. So while you and Mom and Dad were out, I talked one of your roommates in. I don't know how I did that. I think he was drunk and just volunteered to take me down to Soho. And man, it was something. It was awesome.
But you were out until like 3 a.m, weren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank God Mom didn't know that at the time.
And what, you were like 13 at the time?
Yep.
Yeah. Roman Soho at 13. Nice.
I had a beard though. I was an early bloomer, so I looked a little older than that. But
yeah, you did. That's true. Right on. Well, I can yammer and you can yammer, but I'm supposed to ask you to sing a song. We've been live for 10 minutes, so you want to sing a song for us?
Sure. I want to sing my favorite John Prine song.
Oh, you're gonna do a John Prine song. All right, we'll talk about John after the song. I'm gonna take myself out. Okay. So here you go, Matt Posh singing the John Prine song.
This song helped me out when I was going through a very dark time. One line in particular caught my eye and caught my ear rather, and one line brought me out of it. It's called "Linda Goes to Mars." Well, I just found out yesterday Linda goes to Mars. Every time I sit and look pictures of used cars, she'll turn on her radio, sit down in her chair, look at me across the room as if I wasn't there. Oh, my stars, Linda goes to Mars. Well, I wish you wouldn't leave me here alone. Oh, my stars, Melinda's gone to Mars. Well, I wonder if she'd bring something home. Something, somewhere, somehow took my Linda's hand, secretly decoded our sacred wedding band. For the moon shines down upon our happy humble home. Her inner space gets tortured by some outer space unknown. Oh, my star, on to Mars. Well, I wish you wouldn't leave me here alone. Yeah, oh, my star, on to Mars. Well, I wonder if she'd bring me something home. I wonder if she'd bring me something home.
I forget about that song.
Yeah, I love that tune.
What album was that on? You remember? Was that on German Afternoons?
I don't know. That sounds right, but I don't remember exactly. Tell you the truth.
What's the line that you particularly like?
Her inner space gets tortured by some outer space unknown. That slayed me for some reason.
He's got away, doesn't he? Or did?
Yeah. Yep. He's a classic.
I've been talking about him with almost every guest I've had, just because he just died, of course. And we inevitably remarks upon is the simplicity of his songwriting style, even if it can be somewhat esoteric at times. It feels very conversational and very pedestrian in a way, like in a super poetic way. But
Chris Christopherson said he's 24 years old, but he writes like he's 224.
That's funny. That's funny because he's quoted, and I've heard that quote before. I recognize it, but he's also quoted as saying, I grew up to, I got to be 9 years old and I just stayed there. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, that was one I think Mary Gaucher talked about. Oh, Matt Poss. Susie says that's one of her favorite songs.
All right. Love Susie.
So we always ask everybody, if you want to share this broadcast, that's great, because that way your friends get to hear it if they want to tune in, if they're bored. And we'd always love to have you type in and tell us where you're listening from. If you're listening from somewhere, I mean, even if you're from Effingham, but especially if you're from some far-flung place, we like to know that our friends in farthest reaches are listening in. We've had people from Canada and from Britain and Australia and other places, so we'll watch the screen a little bit. So do you still have Dad's old guitar, that Martin?
Yep.
Yeah. Does it still play any good?
It needs work. The neck's all bent out of shape.
Oh yeah.
As any good Martin should be.
We'll eventually get that way. You should talk to Grattan. He'll fix that up for you.
Yeah, he said to bring it over anytime. I need to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, we Matt and I grew up in a musical family. Both of our parents play music and played music, and And our mother put us all into piano lessons when we were 5 or 6 years old. I think I was 5, and Matt probably was too. But my dad was a little different sort of musician. He played guitar, and then he eventually started playing banjo. And he was in like cosmic cowboy sort of country rock bands when we were growing up. A band called Mishawaka. So we picked up a lot from him. And Matt ended up with his Martin D28, right? D28.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's still some other instruments floating around. There's my mom probably owns more dollars worth of instruments than anybody else who doesn't know how to play them.
Yeah, no doubt.
In FEM. But she has the 3 banjos and this beautiful Taylor guitar that I've been playing. So, do you recall early on learning from Dad, learning how to play the guitar, or did you more listen from Larry or Mike, or how'd you pick it up?
I talked Larry into giving me lessons at one point, and he gave up on the 3rd try because I wouldn't practice. So basically, I taught myself. Dad taught me one thing. He taught me this. Anyways, that little blues thing, you know.
Yeah, you tried to teach me.
And then that kind of thing. So,
he tried to teach me that too, but I couldn't sit long enough to do it. Yeah. Flat run.
Yep, that'll get you far in bluegrass circles.
One of my banjo players at one point got mad at me because when I play my songs by myself, especially, I do this all the time where I hammer on the.
Oh yeah.
I do it all the time, probably to an annoying degree. Well, it was certainly annoying this banjo player that I was with, and he said, "Why do you do it? Why are you doing that? You're getting all over in the way of my rolls, and it doesn't sound right." And I said, "Well, I guess I do it because I miss having my dad. My dad played banjo with me especially when I was learning, and so I like that sound of that the banjo. And I'm trying to imitate. It's not really intentional, but it's kind of it's just kind of an instinct that I had to try to imitate that sound of Dad's banjo roll."
Yeah, you do that stuff in Nashville, they will yell at you.
Well, banjo players can be temperamental anyway, so no offense, Grattan or Tyson or C-Bob out there if you're listening. We had Kyle Tuttle on the show on Monday. Did you see that show?
No, I didn't get to see that one.
He's one of the best banjo players going these days, and I mean the very best. He's top flight, and he used to play in the Jeff Austin band for the last 3 years. Now he's got his own thing going. But you would have enjoyed that. You should go back and listen to that if you like the banjo. I know you do.
Definitely, yeah.
So have you had a chance to sit in your basement and write songs while you've been isolating at all, or is that you've been busy?
I write all the time. I mean, I'm always trying to write songs, and I used to try and force myself to write. I don't do that anymore. I just kind of wait until I get inspired now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did an exercise one time. This is 20 years ago when I lived in the cabin next to Grandma's. I did this is back before Facebook and all that other stuff, but Steve Earle was doing a song challenge. He was writing a song a week every week of the year, and I did that along with him. This is back when email was a thing, and you could get his email list, and he would post the song every week, and a lot of them weren't very good, but I was doing the same thing along with him. And then next year I did a song a day every day of the year, and 99%, like those 364 of them really stunk. But I got, actually that's not true. I got The Damned out of that exercise. I got On My Way and I got Addie Leave the Light On out of that. So I got 3 good songs out of that. Okay.
Great songs, yeah. I like the Damned is always one of my favorites of yours.
Yeah, that was very inspired by Willie Ford.
Oh yeah, nice. Hey, Tommy James. Speaking of banjo players, Tommy James is listening in. Hey, Tommy.
Tommy James.
It may have been Tommy that yelled at me. It may have been Tommy that yelled at me for playing.
That would make sense.
Playing those hammer-on. he yelled at me almost every time we played together for something. They're not yelled at me, but he harassed me one way or another. He's one of the great banjo players too.
Absolutely.
He came to my wedding, but he was too cheap to come to the festival, so I didn't even see him at the festival. But but I love him.
I think I snuck him in.
Yeah, I brought him a wristband at one point, but then he was leaving, so I didn't really get to see him. We got somebody writing. I'm going to see this with this. It's a long message from Wendy Wentworth, who's out in Austin, Texas. Great to see Bill and Matt. Great to see the two of you together. I'm listening from between Giddings and Ledbetter, Texas. My cousin Doug Winters, who's also listening, I think, has been sending me links and reminding me about your shows. But this is the first time I've had a good enough signal to actually watch this. Love, love, love you guys. Da, da, da. All right, nice to hear from you, Wendy. I've been hanging out with Doug. We went mushroom hunting several times together, and we actually found one time. All you boys getting on. That's what Tommy says. I'm not sure what that means, but good to see you, Tommy. Well, you want to do that song that you wrote with Tommy, or that Tommy wrote and you finished, or whatever, however it went. Maybe you wrote it and he finished it. You know that one?
Yeah. What's that?
You know, remember that song I'm talking about? The one about going. You're still there.
Am I? Okay, go ahead then.
I was asking for the song that you and Tommy both had a hand in writing. I can't remember what it's called. It had to do with going down and picking up drugs from Alabama or something.
Yankee Cocaine Blues.
Yeah, can you play it by yourself?
Sure.
All right, we'll send this one out to Tommy James down there in Lexington. What is it? Sand Flats or something, Tennessee. I think it's near Lexington, Tennessee. So.
I blew out of Mississippi over the Illinois state line. I got 10 pounds of cocaine. I got a burger up myself. With my job down at Sunnyvale, elevated enough there to stay alive. This all started out of bedroom in Summer, Tennessee. I stopped in town to cocaine. Oh boy, come up to me. Says, do you wanna make some money, son? Follow me outside now, please. Do you like the Mississippi on the pouring rain? See the trucks ahead, I'm trying to beat the train. I just don't know what I'm gonna do. But I'm trying to skip over, get some shaky cocaine. You know what's all behind me? This cookies being strong. Lord, I'm just a boy, help me, Lord. Never had no trouble with the law. Now, moving my sweet my machine on me. Oh, now I'm down to Mississippi, on the pouring rain. I see the tracks ahead. I'm trying to beat the train. I just don't know what I'm gonna do. But I'm trying to skip over, get some in the all I think about is that big jam, sliding down the back roads out of sight. Lord, I slip in through the shadows, where the old hands are standing by. Yeah, I said, cut me my money as I slip away into the night. But right now I'm in Mississippi in the pouring rain. I see the tracks ahead. I can't make the train. I just don't know what I'm gonna do. But I'm trying to see all the city. That was loose. Right.
That's a great one. I love that song. For Tommy James.
That's Tommy's.
Lexington. Is it he wrote that whole thing, or I thought you had a hand in it? No?
I don't know that I ever actually did a whole lot with it. I think he gave it to me pretty well intact. So
yeah,
I may have.
Right on. Yeah.
People think I wrote Jackrabbit too, but I didn't.
Well, yeah, that's a weird thing when you sang it, and a lot of people think of it as your song, but I always set them straight, you know.
Yeah.
So the governor has extended the stay-at-home order until May 30th. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I don't surprise me though.
No, it didn't surprise me. We have the Moccasin Creek Festival scheduled for June 18th through the 21st. I'm plugging in my computer here, folks, and so everyone's been asking what we're going to do about it, but we don't know yet. We know what we're doing. We're just waiting to see if we can do it or not, and we're not going to cancel it. Some acts may have to pull out. If that's the case, we'll make adjustments, but we're not going to cancel it. We're just going to wait and see if it happens. If it doesn't happen, then we're going to just roll it to next year, you know?
Yeah.
And the lineup might change just a little bit, but if people have tickets, then the tickets would be good for next year. Some very gracious people have written in and said that they would like to just have Poss Music Works keep the money and don't worry about it. So,
cool.
We'll see how people go, but I have all their emails, so I can contact them. The people who have bought. We've already sold 150 tickets, so it's a lot of people to contact.
Awesome.
Anyway, have you been impacted heavily? Did you have a lot of gigs that had to cancel?
Yeah, but everybody's cool there. But I haven't really. They're being rescheduled. They're just not being canceled outright.
Yeah, your life's not canceled. It's just postponed.
Right. Exactly right.
Yeah, that's great until you have to pay the electric bill, right?
Yes, I think everything should be postponed. So.
Right? Yeah, that's a weird one. It's like you can defer your payments on your loan, or you can defer your credit card payments, but you're still going to owe the money.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, sometimes a lump sum of money. So got to be careful about that.
Yeah. So you're not really treating your songwriting's not really flourishing during this time. Mine's not either. I've written one song and that's it. Kind of pisses me off. Greg Klimer's written probably 10 songs already.
Oh yeah,
but that might not be.
He doesn't have a wife and kids and all those distractions.
Yeah. How are your kids holding up?
They're bored to death.
Oh yeah.
Cece's about to talk somebody's leg off.
Yeah, right on. Well, let's get you to sing another song, and we got about 30 minutes. If we get you to sing a song now, we'll talk a little more, and then we got time for one more after that. So,
okay.
Talking to Matt Poss today, and Matt. What's your website, Matt? MattPossBand.com.
That's it.
MattPossBand.com. Go check out his music. You can probably buy his merchandise on there if you want to, and get his records or his CDs, I guess. Yeah, and he'll have shows. We have a show scheduled for Matt at Lake Sarah. As I mentioned earlier, he was at all the Moccasin Creek festivals up to now. This year we're putting him on a special show at Lake Sarah at the same stage. But that's scheduled for August 7th, I think, right?
Yeah, that's right. I believe so.
It's Friday night. It's the night before the St. Anthony Church picnic. So we'll see. Hopefully by then things will have calmed down and we'll be able to make the show happen.
You know, you were talking about that little hammer-on that you do.
Yeah.
And, you know, an artist that does that a ton is Tyler Childers.
Yeah. Yeah. Also from a bluegrass background.
Yeah, exactly. They say Sturgill Simpson is a bluegrasser too. I don't know if that's true or not, but said he grew up playing bluegrass. So
John Miller is asking if you have a new CD out. What's your most recent CD?
Beans and Bullets live and reloaded.
You hear that, John? He has a new CD out. It's called Beans and Bullets. Was it?
So, live and reloaded. That could be a joke there, but you can check him out online. Go to the website. He can find it there.
All right, very good. I'm gonna get out of the way. Let you sing. You gonna play a Tyler Childers song?
Sure. Yeah. I'll do that.
Okay. Here you go, Matt Poss.
Well, my buckle makes impressions on the inside of her thigh. There are little feathered engines, but we tussle through the night. If I'd known she was religious, then I wouldn't have come stone to the house of such an angel, too screwed up to make back home. Looking over West Virginia, smoking spirits on the roof. She asked, ain't anybody told you that them things are bad for you? I said, many folks have warned me. There's several people tried. Up till now there ain't been nothing that I couldn't leave behind. Close, my dear, sing your whispering song softly in my ear, and I will sing it along. You tell me how love runs true. You can always count on you. Be there when the bullet flies. I've gone across the river just to hold you tonight.
I love that song.
Yeah, me too.
That first line was sort of a strange visual. I thought that she must have been very, very tall. My belt buckle makes impressions on the inside of her thigh.
Yeah, no doubt. That's hilarious.
So what are you listening to these days? I know you're a big Kendall Marble fan. What's who should people know about that you're into?
Well, Kendall Marble for one. Carlisle. Her name escapes me. Her first name, Brandy Carlisle.
Yeah.
She's
we love
insane.
her. She was on her honeymoon.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So was Tyler Childers.
What's she like? Yeah. Well, Tyler Childers, and then trying to think of anything new I'm listening to. The Steel Woods have a really good new album out.
I know you've been listening to them for a while. I've heard great things, but I never actually heard them play.
They lost their drummer. I kind of knew him a bit. We got to be kind of friends, and I don't know why he quit, but he ended up bailing on, bowing out, and they've had some troubles keeping their whole band intact. But man, that first original quartet was just killer. They're like, I don't know, the best way to describe it is like Chris Knight mixed with
Good start.
what?
That's a good start. Mixed with what?
Chris Knight mixed with Guns N' Roses. I don't know how else to describe it. Something real heavy country. The lead guitarist Rowdy, he's a metalhead that turned country as he got older, and but he's a killer guitarist and he's killer country player. But when he was young, he played nothing but heavy hard rock and metal, and he turned that kind of heaviness into the country scene. And man, they're just awesome.
Cool. I know you like Wheelhouse. That's another one that I hear you talk about sometimes.
Yeah, those guys are great. It's a bluegrass band up in Madison, Wisconsin. Our boy Edward, he's great.
Edward David Anderson.
Yeah,
he kind of looks like you a little bit.
when he wears his glasses. Yeah, when I wear mine, I guess I should say.
I told him yesterday in the interview that I was going to have him play me in the movie.
Yeah, that's great. That's hilarious. Yeah, he's great. He's got a new album out. So
yeah, he's been making the best of his quarantine. How about your top 5 songwriters? In no particular order.
Steve Earle, Chris Knight. This is no particular order. John Prine. I'm not just saying that because he just died.
Good.
No bandwagon there. I think that's tough, man. I still think Fred Eaglesmith's a great songwriter. One of my favorite all-time songwriters. And I guess like Guy Clark.
Right.
I love Townes Van Zandt, and I love like Chris Christopherson, and I love Bob Dylan, and I love them all. But man, the ones that made the biggest impact on me are right there. Those 5. You introduced me to. Yeah,
I knew Steve Earle would be at the top of your list. He's certainly in my top 5. John Prine. Well, that's a lot of overlap. John Prine, Steve Earle, Willie Nelson probably be in my top 5.
Yeah, Jesus, yeah. How can you forget Steve?
And Bob Dylan, of course.
That Steve Earle album, Slow Train Coming, that was kind of my redhead stranger. I'm sure that was that kind of the same for you?
That record changed my life. Yeah, it was it was such a great record, and it's surprising to me how many people don't know about that record. But for those of you who don't know it, you should check it out. It's one of the great records. It's literally in my top 3 all-time records. And there was a long time when I said it was my favorite. It's probably the record I've listened to the most over the years. But it had, for those of you who don't know, it had he had Roy Husky Jr. on the upright bass, and he had now names are escaping me. I've had coffee. Who was a guitar player on the? Norman Blake was on guitar. Mandolin player, was the guy from he wrote Panama Red. That guy, what's his name? Someone's gonna pipe up. Peter Rowan.
Peter Rowan. Yeah.
Amy Lou Harris singing harmonies. I mean, that's not what's great. I mean, that's part of what's great about it. But the songs are just out freaking standing.
Yeah.
And I've gone through that. I've gone through the cassette, CD, album. I don't think I can get it on vinyl, but But anyway, that's a great one.
And that 1994, Johnny Cash also released his first American recordings. And
yeah,
so
that was a great record.
but they were both acoustic albums, and those were the two things that set me on this path. Those two albums right in a row. By Winfield, I was done. I mean, that's what I'm going to do. So yeah,
that was your junior year in high school. Was that your senior year? No, you were in college by then.
Yeah, that was in college by then. I was a freshman in college. So
yeah, I remember you falling down the Steve Earle rabbit hole pretty hard.
Yeah, you actually introduced me to Steve Earle when I was in high school, but you gave me Exit O, but it wasn't until I had that in my cassette case like forever, and I never listened to it. But then one night we were road tripping, and my friend Kevin Chambers put on Guitar Town, and that blew me away. Like I'd never been blown away before. And I would have been a junior in high school at that point. And so then I remembered that I had seen that name before, and I went back and I found Exit O, and so that's what sent me on. And then he was gone by then. He was in prison at that point, so there was no more music. And then all of a sudden in '94 we got Slow Train Coming.
Train a Coming.
So yeah, Slow Train a Coming.
Not slow, just Train a Coming.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. There's some reason that word slows in there for me for it. Train a Coming.
El Corazon.
El Corazon.
I feel all right.
Yeah, I feel all right. Those three right in a row, and then
The Mountain.
Yeah, right after that was The Mountain. So it was unbelievable.
That's the best run of records of anybody, in my opinion, that's ever happened.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You have to go back to Beethoven to beat that.
I think so, man. It's really, really kind of silly how awesome that run was.
And it includes everything from acoustic folky country music, like on Train a Coming, to really pretty hard rocking songs on I Feel All Right, and El Corazon had rocking, and it also had bluegrass, and then of course The Mountain's all bluegrass. So you get this big breadth of Americana music. And at that point, I was like, Steve Earle is the god of Americana music. I mean, we didn't call it that then, but you know, I was hearing all these people talking about Buddy Miller and Jim, what's his name? They're always on the radio together.
Why are those guys so popular? I don't get it. I know Buddy Miller's pretty awesome, and Jim has done a lot. Jim Lauderdale has done a lot, but I don't get why they're the kings of Americana. I never understood that.
I'm the same way, and I think that Steve Earle should be considered that. I mean, you know, especially with John Prine gone now, he's heir apparent. Oh, you know, there's other great. Of course, Willie Nelson's still alive, but in terms of who's still kicking, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd include Robert Earl Keen in that also.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love Robert Earl Keen.
Yeah. Well, shit, I forgot we had an audience. We're just talking. We're just talking. We got JJ says Ian No. She wants to know if you've heard of Ian No. I think that's what she's asking.
No, I have not.
Hey, check him out. He's really good.
I'll write that down.
NOE. If you like, you'll love him. You'll get mad at him right away.
Okay.
You know what I mean. Like,
yeah.
He just got a real knack for it. He sounds a little like Bob Dylan and John Prine kind of rolled up together and writes in that class. So he's a young guy.
I always say that if I go see someone live, I want to feel two things. I either want to go home and play and practice. And that's great, but a really great concert makes me want to go home and just break all my shit.
Yeah, that's how I was when I saw Will Kimbrough play for the first time. I was just like, I went out and I opened for him, and I went out and did the best show. Up to that point, I did the best show of my whole life. And I came off stage, I was high as a kite. Everybody was like, Bill, that was so great. And Shubas, and I sold a bunch of records on the break. After the show, I wanted to quit. I was just like,
yeah, for real. I've done that many times. Yeah.
The guy, they call him the alien, and I call him the eraser because he erased me.
That's great.
He's great. Yeah. Alfreda or Susie, I'm sorry, says, "Hey, that's what I wish you." I'm sorry. They're just. Oh, Lauderdale. Yeah. Thank you, John Miller. Yeah, we weren't trying to slag those guys. We just didn't quite understand
no offense.
Yeah, get it while you can, right? So very good. What's that?
I was number 73 for the Americana Music Association. I was member number 73. I used to have a plaque that said first 100 members. I was actually on. Yeah, I have some great stories from that festival. I stopped going to Winfield for many years.
Yeah,
well, I still don't go, but for a long time I was going to the AMA instead, and I just have some absolutely wild stories from those festivals. But it's just like everything else. It's like it's a club, you know. So
yeah, you told a pretty great story about Waylon Jennings' wife, Jessie Coulter.
Yeah, I still haven't washed that. She kissed me right here, and I still haven't washed that spot. 2003.
Good times. Well, we miss you at Winfield. Well, I've only been there probably 3 of the last 10 years, unfortunately.
Is that right?
Yeah, well, I was on the road for 5 years straight. I didn't go anywhere like that. You know, I went to a lot of festivals. I shouldn't say that. I went to a lot of places like that. It just wasn't Winfield, you know. So
yeah.
Anyway, what's your favorite club to play? Before I get you to play one more song, what's your favorite club to play? You can name a few if you're trapped.
I love Joe's in Chicago. I love Knuckleheads in Kansas City.
It's a great
Knuckleheads is a proper club. You know, you really feel like you're in a great space there. The Basement in Nashville is super cool. Duke's over in Indy. Have you been there yet?
No.
You need to go.
What's it like?
It's just the Texas honky tonk roadhouse. It's great. It's a really good vibe. Also, they won't have me back there, but Off Broadway is really cool in St. Louis.
They won't have me back there either.
And Old Rock House in St. Louis is great too.
That's a great club.
Yeah, it is.
I went over there and I saw Hard Working Americans play there.
Oh yeah,
yeah, pretty cool place. All right, well, I'm going to wrap this up. You want to sing another song?
Sure.
Hey, there's one more thing I meant to mention. There's 2 things I was going to mention. First of all, they're reopening the Living Museum in Altamont. So I was going to challenge you. If you want. We should do a benefit for them. We should do a show there and do a benefit.
Okay.
I mean, we'll figure out how to pay the band if that probably needs to be done. But I think we could raise a couple grand for them at least, and they need the money.
Okay.
Have you been over there?
No, I haven't. I need to do that.
Well, no, you were there. You played with the family band over there.
I haven't done that. That was a long time ago, though, wasn't it?
It was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should do that. We should do a benefit over there. Matt Poss Band and either Love Seed or High Test or something. So we'll figure it out. I saw one of the guys was listening earlier, and for those of you who don't know this place, it's an old church that was donated to a not-for-profit that was meant to be like a theater for the community. And in the last few years, it's kind of fallen out of use and into a bit of disrepair. But it's a wonderful place, and it's the kind of place that Altamont. Well, I certainly would love to have a venue in Altamont that we could go at, like a music club. And so if anybody wants to get involved in helping do that, I know Doug Winters has offered. There's Doug right there. He says yes. I need that story too. I need that story too. Okay, I don't know what that means, Doug, but Doug lives over there, and he's offered to help scare up some people, and maybe we'll do a really cool benefit show over there.
That'd be awesome.
Cool.
Do that.
The other thing I was going to say was tomorrow on Split Bill, we have a new feature, folks. We have a new feature, and I don't know if I've gotten a response yet from all the people, but it's going to be Fan Friday, and I have guests. I have 2 guests from Canada, and so far I have one, I think, from the U.S. Susie Miller from Port Dover, Ontario, will be one of my guests. Steve Bentley from Vancouver, British Columbia, will be one of my guests, and I'm going to ask them about what they're listening to, what their favorites are, what clubs they like to go to in their area or in the areas around. It could be anywhere. And with Susie, I get to ask her a lot of questions about the great Canadian band Blackie and the Rodeo Kings. So then I'm going to find one more. I don't know. What's Kendall says, "What's up, boss man? Hope we can play a damn show one of these days." Kendall's in my backyard. I guess.
Kendall, he reminds me. Have you ever seen the movie Tremors?
Not on purpose.
Oh, come on, it's great. He reminds me of Kevin Bacon in that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you got to rewatch that movie. That's Kendall to me for some reason. I don't know.
You know, I shouldn't say that. People have said they love that song or that they love that movie, and I should watch it. There's so many movies coming out that I want to see, so I'm always keeping it up, keeping it fresh. Yeah. Oh, we watched No Country for Old Men a couple nights ago, man.
Oh.
That's a movie now. Holy cow!
I wasn't right for days after that one.
You know, I think about that movie. I thought about it for like the next whole day after I watched it. This is like the 3rd time I've seen it. You know, and it never made sense to me. Like the protagonist dies a half hour before the movie's over. The primary protagonist dies, and then the guy who's the antagonist, he dies a gruesome death. I think mostly accidental. It's just so strange, and I was thinking about Tommy Lee Jones, and you know he's the sheriff, and he survives all of it, right? And he keeps staying out of trouble because he's like No Country for Old Men, right? And he's the old man. But it struck me that he was the good guy, and he was the good guy. He's the guy who lived, you know.
Yeah, he was. It's always occurred to me that he's the main character.
Right. And I haven't read the book, so I don't know how that plays out. But anyway, great fun movie.
Exactly.
I need to be a fan. So, all right, Matt Potts, folks. Thanks, Matt, for being my guest today. It's been a lot of fun and good to catch up with you. We'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me on. The song was inspired by the movie Tremors. If you haven't seen it, you should go see it. It's on Netflix for free. Well, not free, but you know what I mean. It's called Me and Reba. Preacher man says, oh, let's read up my own song. Oh yeah, everything sucks. I got no beer in my pickup truck. Oh yeah, everything's crazy. Nothing feels right, and I'm missing my baby. Preacher man says it's the end of time. Mississippi River's 10 miles wide. Stock market's up, the interest is down, and all the hippies got guns to fight the evil pronouns. Went to the desert on a horse with no name. I named a Reba for a chestnut mane. Built us a cabin so far from town, with a bomb shelter down 50 feet underground. And now it's me and Reba waiting on the end of the world. The wife run off, left me all alone. He said I was really married to Alex Jones. She never seemed to care about the Georgia Guidestones, chemtrails, Bilderberg, or Bohemian Grove. Stays pretty quiet here on the range. It helps to keep the tremors at bay. Sometimes at night we need a handful of shrooms, have a party in the rec room, just us two, and now it's me and Reba waiting on the end of the world. Oh yeah, everything sucks. I got no beer in my pickup truck. Oh yeah, everything's crazy, nothing feels right, and I'm missing my baby. I miss my baby. I miss my baby. See you next time.
You have to give Matthew or Michael Daters the co-write on that, I think.
Definitely, yeah. You and Michael Daters both got co-writes on that one. So.
I think Chad Wilberg might get one too.
Yeah, Chad Willenberg, absolutely too.
So I just heard from another one of my guests, Kevin Elliott from Urbana, Illinois, who's been a DJ at the great little station there, WEFT in Champaign, will be one of my guests, and I'll have to find. I'm looking for a fourth fan favorite. So if you want to be a participant, you can comment now, or you can send me a message on Facebook Messenger. Either way. All right. Hey Matt, thanks a lot, man. It's been a ton of fun.
Thank you for having me. See you later.